So we are live on TikTok.
Wow.
We have met a milestone as far as followership. So yeah, good stuff going on. So welcome to the show, Andy. Good to see you back.
You too, man.
Glad to be back. We've been on a little bit of a break. We have had some technical challenges, some good technical challenges.
It was a technical hiatus.
It was a technical hiatus, yes.
We do apologize for our absence. We're thankful for those of you who've been asking where we are, making sure that we're okay, and telling us that they're looking forward to more episodes and upcoming topics. And along those same lines, we do want to thank Santiago Vasquez. If you haven't gone out and watched that yet, go out and watch that.
Boy, he was great, wasn't he?
There was a lot. So there was humor, great storyteller. There was emotion. There's a lot. There's a lot in that.
Yeah.
A lot.
Yeah.
But it was great.
Really kind of, the whole time he's sharing his life with us, I was thinking, boy, my life seems pretty dull. Very, very unaccomplished compared to this guy.
Yeah, I mean, definitely don't want to get into it and ruin, going to watch that episode or listen to that episode. Man, it was
right.
You definitely need to do it. You need to go check that out.
Yeah, what a neat guy. Funny.
Yeah.
Passionate. Woo, man. Yeah, we'll have to throw out some more TikToks out there about some of the clips from our full-length podcast interview with him. But it was great. So, yeah, glad to be here. Glad to record this episode. We got some fun stuff we're going to talk about today. We got some really interesting episodes coming up as well. Just kind of want to share a little bit why we're doing what we're doing. Andy and I have been friends for 20 plus years. We have a lot of similarities. We've both been divorced more than once. Is what it is. We're both single and we date, so we have some good dating stories. We have some dating tips.
Well, we're single in the sense that
we're not married. Right, exactly.
So, yeah.
But yeah, we talk about things like divorce and co-parenting, and we both have kids. We talk about sex, men's health. We're not getting younger, right? I realized recently that's not a bald spot; it's a gray spot, which really.
Matt was really having a hard time with the fact that he thought he was rubbing his whiskers loose on the bottom of his chin, and come to find out upon closer inspection, he's acquiring some of my platinum.
Yeah.
Some of my platinum beauty.
Yeah.
Is starting to creep in a little bit.
Platinum beauty.
Platinum
I like
beauty.
that. I like that.
It's not gray, it's platinum.
Platinum. Kind of like it's not pink, it's salmon.
All right.
That's what I've been telling people for a long time. At any rate, but no, we appreciate everybody who's been following us, who's been adding us for their favorites. You can find us on Spotify, Apple Podcasts. You can find us on Audacity now, which is new to me, but apparently that's a big podcast platform. Glad to be part of that. Obviously, you can find the full video version of our podcast on YouTube.
Which we don't even know how we ended up on Audacity.
No idea. We're just that cool, man.
We're just there. We're just there. I mean, it was the weirdest
We're
thing.
just there.
So.
Yeah. And all of our socials, right? We're at Barstool Breakdown. So TikTok, Instagram, Facebook. Love to have you join us, follow, share, like, and comment on all of our platforms. We love that. We really appreciate it.
We're also on Twitter, but we're not. We're Barstool Guys on Twitter.
Is it Twitter or is it X now?
Oh,
like,
crap.
I don't.
Yeah, it's X.
What the?
Thanks, Elon.
I don't know what that was all about, but
it's X.
It's X.
Well, I think isn't his space thing SpaceX or?
You're right.
Like
it is SpaceX. Yeah.
So
You're absolutely right.
That's probably part of it.
Yeah.
Would be my guess.
Yeah. So before we roll into our topic of the day, which is travel stories, we're going to talk. We've both traveled a lot in our lives, both personally, professionally. Things sometimes don't go as planned. So we thought,
depending on who you're traveling with.
Anyways, hey, we all have shit that happens. Sometimes more than others.
Yes.
But at any rate, we got some funny travel stories to talk about today. But first of all, speaking of travel, we got some news, that we wanted to hit on. We like talking about news when we can, when we read, which is not often, so listen up. Mm-hmm. But we got a couple things going on. So I'll let you kind of talk about the first one there, Andy, about Canada.
Well, so Canada released an article this week about travel for LGBTQI. Wait a minute. I think it's, what was it? 2 S LGBTQI now is what it is.
That sounds right.
2S was two spirits,
Okay.
and the I was. Do you remember what the I was?
No.
I can't remember. It's not in between. It's something like that, though. But yeah, that acronym just keeps getting longer and longer. And
Yeah.
longer. Which then we've also talked about that. We need to have a show where we actually figure out
Yeah.
proper pronouns and what is cis and andro and is that andro?
Pan.
And
Yeah,
sans
and neither of us, say this tongue in cheek,
Right.
making fun of anybody. We
No.
just honestly, I don't really understand the difference.
there's so much. I have no idea.
Yeah,
I have no idea.
yeah. So Canada, right? So
Yeah, sorry.
no,
I
you're
sidetracked.
perfect.
So yeah, Canada is actually issuing travel. Is warning is the right word? They're issuing travel news.
Yeah.
To people in that community who are coming to the States because Canada is the number one country in the world of acceptance for the lifestyle. I guess you'd call it the lifestyle. Or the choice, whatever. I'm not sure what. Anyway, I don't
I
want
think
to. I don't
you
want to
just
get
pissed
too,
off
I
a whole
probably
population of people
did. And I'm not.
twice.
And I'm not trying to.
A,
I don't,
not considered a lifestyle. B, not a choice.
Okay.
You're welcome, Alphabet Soup.
Again, I mean no disrespect by that
I
at
know.
all.
I know.
But yeah, there's some states in the United States that
Yeah.
are not super accommodating. In fact, and I didn't realize there's some states, the article said, that have banned like drag shows and transgender shows.
Yeah.
And which I didn't realize. I thought that
neither.
was, I just thought that was an accepted venue or accepted. I don't even know the right word.
Don't say choice.
I'm not saying choice.
Well, accepted lifestyle. Yeah.
So I mean, are they looking at it from a standpoint of somebody who's a man traveling as a woman? Is that one of the things that they're talking? Because they mentioned drag shows. Well, that's not a show. Someone traveling
Yeah.
through the airport. So are they recommending that if you are a transgender person that you actually travel as your birth sex? Is it so you don't have issues with your ID?
I don't think it's that as much as it is. There are, not every state in the United States is as accepting. Even I think when laws come into place too, for people who are transgendered or I don't know the terminology, cross-dressing or whatever the case may be. I think there are some states that are really conservative, even legally, around that.
Okay.
And that's the gist of this article is Canada saying, hey, listen, if you're traveling this weekend, big holiday weekend, right, Labor Day weekend, if you're traveling this Labor Day weekend and you are, transgender or drag queen or whatever the case may be aware you may, based on where you're traveling to, you may not be accepted well. You
may run into some problems.
You may
travel.
run into.
May
Well,
run
they
into some
talk about
travel
like
delays.
gender affirming care, right? Not every state is down for that.
For like if they have to go to the hospital.
Yes. So I think the gist of this article from Canada said, hey, listen, if you're going to travel the United States or really any country, know what your limitations are when it comes to support in these states or countries that may not really be open to giving you support.
Okay. Well, the one thing we have discovered with that is we need to be educated. So
Well, that is for darn sure.
anything that I said, I
About a lot of
apologize
stuff.
if there was any offense given because it was not intended.
Well, you are
So-
offensive. Gosh darn, you're offensive, Andy.
Oh, yeah, I am. I am.
You are. So, that was an interesting article. And I've never seen a travel advisory warning about, being, LGBTQ+.
About your sexual orientation.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. I mean, I say that as, I guess I'd be a cis male. Anyways, at any rate. So we'll move off that topic. But
Yeah, I was going to say something. I probably just not
yeah,
say it.
we'll hold off on that one until we really piss off people in the next episode.
Well, hey, do you guys want to go viral?
Oh my goodness.
In a bad way.
In a bad way. Yeah. This guy. At any rate, so no, that was kind of interesting to see that pop up on the Yahoo News,
Yeah.
And then we have, a story that's been going on for, several weeks now is the Maui Fires in Hawaii.
Yeah. So anything new on that front? I know I'd heard about a week ago that a lot of the people that actually live there were still having a hard time dealing with the fact that travelers were still continuing to show up. Their resources are limited. Things are just not in good shape there, but people continue to follow through with their travel plans.
Right, right. Well, I think initially, with all the fires that were going and all the homes were being lost and the displaced people, the issue was we have all these travelers coming in, booking Airbnbs, booking hotels and things like that. And I think the initial concern was, where are we going to put all of our displaced people, residents of Maui?
Yeah.
I have a friend of mine who, there was a wedding in Hawaii and Maui right after all that happened. I was invited to go. Obviously didn't go, and this person didn't go either because of that, and felt bad about taking up places for people to stay.
What do you do about your wedding? I mean, that's something that wasn't just planned.
That's a tough one. Well, it's a double
before the fire.
Yeah, it wasn't that person's fault, obviously. Well, I hope not. If they were smoking, maybe it was, but too soon for that joke. But I think it's a double-edged sword, right? Because on one point, you want to make sure people can recover and live and do what they need to do to come back from this nasty, horrible fire. But number two, they still need the income from all the travel.
Thanks.
And that's a lot.
Oh,
that's
Maui?
a lot. Oh, yeah.
Tourism money in Maui.
They need that tourism money to rebuild. So I think it's kind of 6 of one, half a dozen of the other.
That's
so
still 6, right?
My heart. Yeah. Thanks, Andy. You're quick and smart today.
I are smart. Trying to bring some levity to the disaster.
A little levity to the disaster.
Levity,
well, that's kind of what we do from time to time,
but
right?
like with Maui, great place to vacation.
Might not be right now.
Not right now.
Maybe a little charred, but hopefully they'll be able to rebuild and regrow and all that kind of fun stuff. So,
But leads directly into our topic for today.
It does. Travels. I don't know what we call it. Travels gone wild. Travel tales. Tales.
Yeah, travel tales. These aren't necessarily wild.
No.
But, I mean, it's we've had some good trips to some different places around the globe, and a lot of places that we still want to go.
True.
But I didn't travel a lot. I don't know about you, but my dad worked construction in the summertime. When we were out of school, he was pounding in the hours, man. So, I mean, our trips literally consisted of like visiting grandparents that were 4 or 5 hours away, or going to a family reunion that was 2 or 3 hours away. We didn't take big family vacations to Disney and to all those places. So I actually didn't even fly on an airplane for the first time till I was like 22 years old.
Wow.
Yeah. And was an experience, but the company that Matt and I used to work at together.
Not Pornhub, by the way, just making sure we're on the same page there.
Yeah, that was Matt's second side hustle.
Jesus.
Anyway,
short videos.
Haven't seen him. Can't confirm.
Yeah.
Cannot confirm. But back in the late 90s, like flying anywhere got really, really cheap for a while.
Yeah.
And you used to be able to fly to Chicago for like $120 round trip. So a group of guys that I worked with, again, it started prior to Matt being involved there, but we came up with this great idea that how fun it would be to get up really early in the morning, go to the airport, fly to Chicago. Little whistle pig. Fly to Chicago for the day. Go to a ball game, fly back home. All in about 16 hours.
Ooh, ouch.
We did that for the first 2 or 3 years. So we would fly to Chicago. We would take the train from the airport. We would go to Cubby Bears, which is across the street.
Yeah, been there.
We'd go to Cubby Bears. We'd spend a couple hours there before the game. We'd go to the game, sit in the first year or two, we actually sat in reserve seats. We found out we had a lot more fun sitting in GA.
Is that right?
Yeah. And you have to like old style beer if you sit out there.
Yeah.
Because that's pretty much the thing.
Right.
Watch the ball game, get a little bit full of old style, and then spend a couple hours or more, depending on when our flight was, at Murphy's bleachers behind the stadium.
Yep, I know the place.
And then hop back on the train full of adult beverages, sometimes very, very late at night, and having to go through the Harlem section of Chicago on the subway.
South Side, right?
Sometimes at like 2 in the morning.
Right.
When we probably shouldn't have been. When we probably shouldn't
Especially
have
after
been
all that booze, I'm sure we had some loose lips.
The older we got, the longer those trips lasted, by the way. They didn't stay single-day trips for very long. But first time I was ever exposed to taxi cabs was in Chicago. I mean, taxis here in Kansas City, we just don't have them. This is before the days of Uber and panhandling. That was another thing that I got introduced to the first time that I had never really...
Poor deprived soul.
Yeah, and watched a few guys in our group get taken.
Like Liam Neeson taken, or
no, like getting taken by a panhandler.
Yeah.
Yeah. In fact, very, very Christian fellow that was within our group. This couple comes up to him with a little kid. Can we have $2?
Was this Christian fellow formerly a Booger Sugar Fan?
He may have been.
Okay.
He's definitely born again. But they come up to him. It was like they could pick him out of a group of like 10 guys. So the cabs in Chicago, horns honking like crazy, cab drivers cussing like freaking maniacs.
Right.
We are at an intersection getting ready to walk across the street. Cab is getting ready to make a right-hand turn onto the street we're getting ready to cross. Walk signal comes on. We start to walk across. Cab makes a right turn. They don't give a damn about you being there. Not a damn.
Right.
First time I ever kicked a car.
You kicked a car?
I laid right into the side of that cab.
Well, I hope it wasn't domestic made.
We stepped off the curb. He made a right-hand turn and just about plowed through all of us. And the guy did not even stop. If you'd have done that to somebody here, they'd have been pulling. Oh yeah, try that in my hometown. Follow you.
Yeah. All right, Jason. All right, there, Jason Aldean.
But another thing we touched on. So drinking was kind of focused around these trips, and we talked about this a little bit. So we had a manager that was a mentor for both of us. He is like, this guy gets away with more stuff than anybody I've ever seen in my life. He is super smooth, dude. Ooh. And I was telling you earlier, he kind of reminds me, not his looks, but he reminds me of like a Gene Hackman. The way Gene Hackman portrays himself. He's just like, he puts this aura off like, I can pretty much do whatever the hell I want to do.
Yeah. And he gets away with it too.
So we're drinking and we're all talking and we're talking about ball games. We're talking about our trip. We're talking about Chicago. We're talking about all these different things. We're sitting outside at this bar and there's a group next to us and they've gotten involved in our conversation and we're just kind of watching him and he's just kind of sitting there and he's looking at this woman.
Yeah, we're all in a big circle.
Yeah.
I was on this trip too.
He's not saying much and he's just sitting there and he's just kind of studying this gal. And we all noticed she had a huge hair, like hanging out of her chin.
Dude, it could have been braided.
I mean, it
almost looked like it was there on purpose.
So,
like there was it had to have been a conscious decision not to pluck that thing.
So we're sitting there, and we did talk about this. If you saw our manscaping show, I think we did mention this. But I'm watching him, and I'm noticing he's not saying a word. He's just sitting there, and he's studying this woman's chin.
And we're all talking about
the
game, where you're from, blah, blah, blah.
All of a sudden, he just leans over to this woman and just reaches up and just plucks that hair right off of her face, drops it, just sits back down, and just goes right back to the conversation.
And I think I remember looking at this woman when this happened, first thinking, how does this man walk around with a set of nuts that big to just pluck a hair off of some strange older woman's face? The look on her face is similar, and then we're cool.
But the look on all of our faces was still like, what the hell did he just do? And what the hell is she going to do?
And how did he not get knocked the hell out?
He just literally just sat back like he just brushed something off of your shoulder. And she did have a little bit of a look of what the hell just happened.
Yeah.
And then she was good with the two.
Yeah.
And we're all just like, what the hell did we just see?
Yeah.
It was just ridiculous. But anyway, I love Chicago.
Yeah.
Had a great time
in
Chicago.
Town.
The ball games. It's just there's a daytime Chicago and there's a nighttime Chicago.
Yeah.
If you haven't been, it's worth a weekend trip. It's not super expensive to go there. It's a great time.
Yeah. Okay. I just realized I've got a bitchin' Chicago trip story. Okay. So back during marriage number 2, my wife, super nice of her, got me and a buddy of mine. You know this buddy of mine. a trip to Chicago right before Thanksgiving.
I know the story.
Right before Thanksgiving, right? This guy, I'm not going to mention his name. We were good friends for a long time. Not anymore, unfortunately. But
Bow tie.
Yeah. So this guy, amazing tailor. Like this guy, just on the side, his side hustle was to make just custom shit.
You did
right?
stuff for your wedding.
He did. He made suspenders for my son, and I think me, and like a matching bow tie for me and my son, and and even her damn dog had a matching dog collar. I mean, it was really high quality stuff. So I mean, if he's got a website, I pimp him right here. But at any rate, so she buys this trip for us to go up. It's like 3 nights. We had a lot of fun, but leading up to this trip, he had mentioned a couple times, "Well, I really need to go to this leather store," and I'm thinking, okay, fine, because he's into textiles.
Not
and
Wilson's.
No. That's where this story goes south. Or if you're listening, north. Anyway, so the day comes, he's wanting to check out this leather store. I'm like, cool, let's do it, man. Let's get some drinks on the way. It's a Sunday, it's nice. Middle of the day, like 1 o'clock in the afternoon. We head up the train to, I don't remember the name of the neighborhood, but I did know that this neighborhood had a reputation for being more LGBTQ friendly. That's great, right? Kind of like the Castro district of Chicago, right? Instead of being San Francisco. Anyway, so we get up there. We're walking around. It's Sunday, 1 o'clock, 2 o'clock in the afternoon. We're walking around a corner. I can hear music. So two-part of the story. I look in, and it's this open bar, open side windows, like garage door things. Mm-hmm. Nice day outside, so they had all these windows open, but you could hear all the music going inside. There's lots of people for a Sunday early afternoon, and there's all these dudes with bow ties, giant ripped muscles, go-go dancing on these tables.
Oh, no shirt.
Nothing.
Just have a bow tie on.
Bink! Exactly.
Okay.
I was like, whoa. This is a little new for me, right? But hey, whatever. So we're going down the street. My radar's off as far as this leather shop. We walk into this store, and immediately I realize this is not Michael's. This is not Joann's Fabrics. This was no apologetically, not that you need to, but this was a LGBTQ heavy sex shop. Andy, it took me a minute to understand what I was in store for. We walk in, there's this whole wall full of no judge, I'm not judging, full of these like dog, horse, cat mask things, with like ears and little paws that go with it, and
like furries.
Yeah,
okay.
And tails, which I won't talk about how those are attached here on our show. I think you get the idea.
There's no belt with it.
Yeah, so I'm like,
it's like a Mr. Potato Head kind of insertion piece.
Yeah, that's exactly what it is. More of a,
you know what we're talking about.
Yeah, you got it. So anyways, so he goes over and he's checking out to see how the rivets and the stitching, and I'm like, wow. So I'm like, I'm going to peruse the store. This looks like it's going to be a bit of a journey. Well, very quickly, I think everybody that worked there realized we have a straight in the in the store. So they're coming over, like trying to steer me. There's a couple things I have to talk about that I saw in this place that just blew my mind.
I've since seen one of these things you're about to talk about.
Well, the first one, I see this, what would be described as a toilet lid, that's it, on a bar contraption to keep it about 18, 20 inches off the ground.
Okay, I've not seen this one.
Yeah, you don't want to either. Okay. And that's for things that I don't want to get involved with talking about here on live or on our show that we're going to put on YouTube. But that was interesting. There's a lot of interesting things in this store. I'm not judging anything.
It's a lid and provide your own bowl.
It's a lid and provide your own content.
Yeah.
And bowl.
And bowl to catch it.
You got to have a partner to. Yeah. Anyway, so
no, I'm good.
Yeah, I'm good too. At any rate, so fast forward to we're checking out, and he buys whatever, some kitty paw or horsetail. I don't know what the hell he buys. It doesn't matter. We're at the checkout counter, and underneath the register is this, like a jewelry counter type clear window case. Yeah. Inside this case are all these steel little rods, like the size of pencils, a little bit thicker. Some of them
similar to a drink stir.
Yeah, not quite.
So get rid of these
and all the stuff in the middle, but basically just these.
That might be.
And I saw a tuning fork, and I'm thinking, I'm looking for guitars on the wall at this point or some musical instruments. Yeah, that was for a dick flute. And I didn't know what the hell he's talking about. So this guy goes, see something you're interested in?
Dick flute.
Dick flute. Hashtag make it viral, people. Anyways, I go, what in the hell are these things? He goes, well, you slide this thing up your urethra and you bing. Hell no. Hell to the no.
It's a tuning fork for
It's a
your
tuning
dick flute.
fork, and I guess that's a thing. And hey, right on. Right? Hey, go get it, right?
It may be the greatest thing in the world. I will never know.
But you know what? You want to know what your
No.
pitch is, though? Aren't you interested to find out what your pitch is?
No.
No? Yeah, me neither.
No.
Screw all that. But hey, at any rate, it was an interesting story nonetheless.
No.
And coming back during a snowstorm out of Chicago, oh, yeah, that's a gamble and a half, but we somehow made it back. Whew. So that's my Chicago story. But
Other than that, Chicago's a great town.
Chicago's a great town.
If you need a, what'd you call it? If you need your dick flute.
Dick flute.
If you need a tuning fork for your dick flute, you don't have to go to Chicago. I've actually seen them here in Kansas City.
Oh, God,
But
I'm sure you have. Anyway, so
I have seen them.
So that was my add-on story.
That was worthwhile. That was a lot.
a good one.
That was a lot funnier than, a lot more entertaining than plucking a chin hair off of some random.
Dude, that
Off of some
when he
random
did
chick.
that, anyways. So
It's just, it's the cool factor though. Like
yeah,
nothing just happened.
unapologetically,
Yeah.
unabashedly, just boop, and move on with the day. You know.
Yeah.
So
So speaking of your toilet lid scenario you had earlier, you had a little bit of adventure when you were, is it India, right?
well, yeah. I mean, to summarize it, so my buddy and I've mentioned this trip before. Amazing trip, you know, and I hope a lot of people out there, you know, if you ever get the chance to travel, you know, not to Cancun or not Maui right now, but if you ever get a chance to travel for cultural purposes, take it, just take it. We went to Sri Lanka, like 4 or 5 days, and traveled around, and we went to Nepal, where
You see the Taj Mahal? Where's Taj Mahal at?
nowhere near where we were
Okay.
at. Yeah, way far away, where
Just
I'd have to
curious.
Google to figure out where the hell
Okay.
that's at. But anyways, so we're real careful about what we're eating and drinking, you know, because you're supposed to be when you're water and pathogens and bacteria and all that kind of shit, literally, until the last meal. And I didn't think about it. We had this beautiful, cool last meal with the guy who was our driver for the week in Nepal out of Kathmandu. It was amazing, right? Really cool entertainment. You're sitting on your crisscross applesauce. Yes, I have kids. Sorry, I just said crisscross. We're sitting Indian style. There, they just call it style. It's just style. That's how they call it. It's not Indian style. It's just style. That was a joke. It's not a good joke. Sorry.
You're in India. I got it. It just wasn't
Right.
good.
So we get on the plane. We're heading back.
Sorry.
First of all, before I share the shit story, I got to tell you, and this is just from my experiences, broad brush comment here, Indian people, because their caste system, are seemingly, I'm going to say this correctly, so racist when it comes to other Indians in different castes. It's ridiculous.
Really?
You think there's racism here? Oh, rampant. And I saw that on a plane coming back big time. At any rate, we're on this giant wide body jet coming back from, I think we had a connection in Mumbai. We're coming all the way back to D.C., to Washington, D.C. I wake up from God knows how long my nap was. Thank God I was wearing underwear, because I wake up just with the green apple gurgles.
Your last meal kicked in.
Oh, that last meal, that cup of water, that ice cube that I didn't, put through a sieve first or triple osmosis, caught up with me, and boy, and thank God I was near the bathroom. There was a line.
What's they call it? Montezuma's Revenge? Is that
Oh,
what it is?
I don't know how they say that in India, but yep, that's exactly what it was. I was hurting for.
A squirting.
Yeah, there you go. Thanks for finishing that shitty remark. But at any rate, so
It's a brownout, remember?
the brownout, right? So I'm wearing, like, I love my linen like lounge pants. I'm wearing these white linen lounge pants. Mistake number one: run to the bathroom, take care of business. Had to get rid of my undies.
So you left underwear.
I just jammed it right down the lavatory trash bin, right? Get out. My buddies asked me how I'm doing. I'm like, not great. Minutes later, this is the best part. Minutes later, whatever, he goes, "Hey, we're gonna land in DC early." And this guy flies all over the world all the time. He knows how to run all this stuff, right?
Right.
We're gonna land in DC like an hour early. I'm thinking, cool, because I feel like crap. Yeah, and I got to more. Anyways, TMI, whatever. Welcome to the show. He goes, if we run to the next terminal, we can get home like 3 hours early. I said, listen, Rick, I go, if you'd like to run, you're welcome to. If I run, everybody's going to know where I came from because I'm going to leave a shit trail.
I can just see you trying to run through the airport with your butt cheeks squeezed together.
Just shuffling.
Just wishing you'd have done more Kegels and butt clenches and everything else.
What the hell?
I don't know.
I always do my Kegels.
Okay.
Don't get that twisted. But anyways, that was such a funny story. And that was one, too, where these Indian kids are running all over the plane constantly in these circles. And I'm like, don't do that. I stuck my foot out once. Boop. Anyway, that was not a hate crime. I was annoyed.
You'd have done it to any kid.
Oh, yeah. I would have done it to any damn kid.
Shit,
I would have done it to my own kids. I don't give a crap. Don't run on an airplane, kids. I might trip you. Watch out for this. Anyways, so, yeah, that was my...
It reminds me
poopy story.
Whew.